Hello, this is Mustafa Abdrabbu. Today we will discuss an important topic and our second lecture in cardiovascular physiology, the pressure volume loop. The pressure volume loop is the second in sequence after the cardiac cycle, and it is important to understand the cardiac cycle first before getting in the pressure volume loop. Without introduction, we will go into the discussion of the pressure volume loop. What does the pressure volume loop shows? In this graph, you can see there are three loops. In blue, this is the normal. The red is the effect of exercise, and the purple is the effect of catecholamines. Let us first discuss the normal. So what does the pressure volume loop shows? It shows the change in volume against the change in pressure. Time is not included in the pressure volume loop. This is why it gets a closed circuit like this. So what happens? To understand, we will go from point to point. At point A, you get the pressure at low value and the volume increases. So this is the diastole, when the ventricle fills, the diastole. This is why you get the pressure at low pressure, then it accumulates, and the pressure gets back to be increased. This is a gradual increase, and the volume increases from the end systolic volume to the end diastolic volume, which is the highest volume. Then what happens after that? After that, the ventricle contracts against closed chamber. What happens when this occurs? The volume is stable, it doesn't change. So this is isovolumetric, and the pressure rises sharply, and this is isovolumetric contraction. So this is isovolumetric contraction, isovolumic contraction. What happens? The volume doesn't change while the pressure sharply rises. After that, what happens? The aortic valve opens. Here the aortic valve opens, and the blood is ejected into the aorta. So what happens to the volume? Actually, when blood is ejected from the ventricle, the volume declines. So the loop will go in this way. So this is systole. The pressure, with continuity of ventricular contraction, the pressure gets a little bit higher till the aortic valve closes. Yes, that's right. When the aortic valve closes, here is the end of systole, and this is systole. When the aortic valve closes, what happens? The mitral valve didn't yet open. So this is isovolumetric relaxation. What happens? The ventricle relaxes and the pressure drops. However, the volume does not change. So again, from A to B, this is the diastole, this is the ventricular filling. From B to C, this is isovolumic contraction. From C to D, the volume gets ejected from the ventricle, so the volume decreases while the pressure is still increasing, and this is systole. And from D to A, this is the isovolumic relaxation, and when pressure drops sharply, while the ventricular volume does not change. So this is under normal conditions. What happens under other conditions is also important to be understood. So let us see what happens in exercise. As you can see in red, during exercise, the volume ejected increases. Why does it increase in comparison to the normal? The answer is that venous return increases ventricular filling, and this allows more blood to be accumulated in the ventricle. Okay. However, the isovolumic contraction does not change, and while systole occurs, more blood is ejected, more volume is ejected, and it gets back to normal. It should be also noticed that contractility is this tangential line. When contractility increases, this line shifts. So what does this mean? This means that we get higher volume ejected across smaller time. And this shifts the peak into this level. So this is the effect of exercise. So why does it differ from the effect of catecholamines or inotropes? In inotropes, there is no difference in the volume. As you can see, this equals the change in volume is stable. But what happens? The ventricle ejects more vigorously, so blood does not accumulate more, and we start at a lower diastolic volume and gets lower systolic volume. However, the ejected blood, the stroke volume remains the same. Thank you, and this is a very simple video to discuss pressure volume loop. If you have any question, just leave it in the comment section. Thank you.